This episode of Super Pulp Science has been brought to you by Gear and Sea, a brand new YA novel set in the Silent Guardians universe, written by Claire C. Marshall. The book is now available at bigcartel.com/chasingartwork.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
All right, this is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. In the last few minutes, we set up for our podcast, and we received from the printer the first box of Gear and Sea. We have all the other boxes over there. If you look at the studio, you'll notice that it's hell in here. We are setting up for Calgary Expo and Regina Fan Expo also, and it's a little bit nuts. So you can't see it on the podcast, the mess. Just imagine the warehouse from Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's our studio right now. I am opening the box of Gear and Sea. What if it's misprinted?
Then this would be embarrassing.
Yeah, it will be embarrassing. We didn't open it before we received it, which was a rookie mistake. But since we hadn't done that,
you didn't like check the.
We should have checked the box before we accepted shipment.
That's okay.
Oh my god.
I'm sure if there's an issue, they'll take it back.
Wait, this isn't our book. Just kidding. This is just packing. This is just packing materials that goes into the book. Yeah, the obesity code was used to pack our book. Nice. Okay. Oh my god, Justin. Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
Claire C. Marshall kicks ass. Look at that. Oh, wait. Look at that. Oh my god. Wow. We done helped produce a novel. Oh, look. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's real. Looks pretty good. Oh, look at that.
Congrats, guys.
That grayscale works pretty good on your thing.
All right, now we need to start doodling in them and shipping them out.
Oh man, can't wait. So if you pre-ordered a copy of this, you'll get one real soon.
Okay, let's record a podcast.
Let's do it. Okay, we're gonna get back into our podcast.
All right.
That's
cool.
Justin, your name's
Holy crap.
Not funny.
okay.
And that has actually happened on my art book. One of the pull quotes, the name was spelt wrong.
Oh my goodness.
But in my defense, this was somebody who on Instagram they couldn't get like their actual name, so they did like a different version of their name, and that's what I was looking at when I was putting their credentials.
So
because,
spell your name right on the internet?
Well,
yeah.
Easier said than done.
The funny thing about that is the First Imagination Manifesto also has a spelling mistake on the cover in a pull quote from somebody also.
No,
and it was a graphic design mistake. It was a rookie mistake from a graphic design point of view. I picked a font that was like, I think, the wrong kind of font to have as a little pull quote. It wasn't like a really clear, crisp, like, there was not a lot of clarity in it. And so the little funny, what's that thing called when there's like a swoop and a dip and the ampersand?
Serif.
The serif stuff.
The
serif stuff meant that when I was reading it quickly, I thought it was right, but it was in fact wrong. And that was it. And there's 2 lessons in there. Number 1, bad graphic design. Number 2, quickly and cover design aren't a really good combination in general. Right? Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but that one was done in, 24 hours.
The cover itself, the art maybe was done.
Oh, okay.
But the actual, like, layered in design, Sam had ahead of time, did she not?
You know what? I don't know 100% for sure, so I apologize, Sam, if I'm misrepresenting, but I think she pretty much did it as I was feeding her the final artwork. She was putting it together. So she had like the verbiage put together, but all the design she kind of did on the fly as I was finishing.
Right.
And then Claire had her 2 cents in there as well for the
Yeah, and then Claire fixed it.
Yeah, Claire fixed your mess. Yeah, you can listen to our previous podcast about how Claire fixed our problems.
That's right.
So, a very interesting couple of days, Dan.
Okay.
Here at the studio. As we've mentioned a few times, I don't know what will survive the cut, that we are going to Calgary Expo tomorrow. Get in the car, drive from 5 a.m. to Calgary.
It's all worth it.
It is super worth it. But also at the same time, I've been doing really long days of rehearsal and illustration and design stuff for Red Earth. Our world premiere is May 8th here in Winnipeg, and it's been getting a little bit of buzz, and like people in the theater community have been coming up and saying like, wow, what is this? This kind of stuff doesn't happen in our city or in theater in general, and we're just trying to do right by everyone and give our best. And all it takes is like when nobody knows, here's my 2 cents about it. When nobody knows what you're doing, you can just release it or whatever. But when it starts to get some momentum, there's this, do you ever feel this, guys? Like you're running a show, you must feel this, that the expectation now binds you to your, what's the word, like your responsibility and their expectation. There's like a chain that is between you now. Yeah.
I got to do it.
Yeah.
People are expecting it. You got to do it. This is not the Fire Festival.
And you got to do it well.
Although that was the problem with the Fire Festival.
That's
They
right.
didn't know when to pull the plug when they should have. But no, now I have to. Yeah, you have to deliver on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's also an interesting thing. Same with this book here, which we just unveiled. We'd been talking about how we should do it. We made a plan about how we could do it. Then once we had said, Claire, do it, she was like, okay, give me a contract. After that,
Was about this time last year, wasn't
Yeah.
it? We sat down in Calgary.
right, and then now there's this chain between, for us anyway, between the expectation like of how it will become real. And here we just loaded it off of a truck, and now it's real. Look at that ISBN number. So pretty. So yeah.
I like the ghosting on the back.
Now, let me ask you this: Did Claire get some shipped to her as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So it wouldn't have made sense to ship it all to Calgary, where Claire is.
Well, we don't need all of it there.
I guess not. So
No,
yeah, okay.
So for the dear listener who's been keeping track of this version of the story, when we do book partnerships with people, we offer them the chance to buy into the print run so that they can have a cost per unit cheaper,
Yep.
so that they can sell direct. Now, they don't get royalties off those copies, but they make a lot more than the 10% that royalties normally are. If they're active in the convention community and they're doing a lot of shows, it's a really great deal for them. If they're not, we would encourage people not to do that. If you don't do a lot of shows, don't accept books as some sort of payment. But if you do a lot of shows,
that's a mistake a lot of people make with self-publishing is they do the math in their heads, and business-wise, it seems like by far the best financial and
just have lots of copies.
And
money.
if we sell these for $20-25 a book, like we'll make so much money. And even at first, usually when you first come out with that book, you'll be able to move a good amount of copies like right off the bat, but that burns out very quickly. And if you don't have a
That's a very specific vibration pattern you have on your phone there.
It was actually, speaking of books, that was my the author for my very first book ever. Has been trying to
just calling you now.
Just calling me. I'm gonna have to call him back after the podcast.
It's Bookstorm. It's Bookstorm today.
But a lot of people, print 2,000 books and they've never moved a book before. And if you don't have a whole bunch of events or ways to move those books, guys, it's really, really hard to move. Even more than 500 books takes a long time to move if you don't have any experience moving books.
Yeah.
So
be wary. Maybe an extension of that is understand, if you don't want to be deceived, know what you are hungry for. If all you want is to, if your book is of a quality and you can get it to a publisher and your thought is, if I do it myself, I'll make more money. If that's your real motivation, it's not necessarily true.
Keep in mind you need to do what that publisher was going to do.
That's right. But if what you really want to be able to say and do is say, I am an author, I have a book out in stores, I'm working on my next book, I'm not interested in all of the emeophilia that goes into selling a thing, then be happy with a traditional contract. I have both, and they're good for different reasons. Mm-hmm. And I think we've said that before on the podcast, but it bears repeating.
I never lost so much as a fingernail flying with you. That's good enough for me.
Okay, so Dan, I'm going to turn the tables on you.
Okay.
We're not the only ones with a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on.
You have a convention.
Yes.
Should we talk about the big convention news before
not?
moving on to
I think we
your
can talk
convention?
about it. Here's the big convention news, Winnipeg.
or non-Winnipeggers, because I think everybody in Winnipeg might know about it already.
Yeah, that's true. Non-Winnipeggers is we, for many years, more than 10 years, have had a local show called the Central Canada Comic Con, which announced yesterday that they would not be holding their event in 2019. So the biggest show of our city is no more, making room for the
No more,
up-and-comers.
or taking a year hiatus? I was a little confused.
It's unclear. I think the hope from them, just from what I've read, the hope is that they will be back in 2020, but there's no. Obviously, they're not making any promises right now.
Right.
From what I could tell on their, like, obviously there's a post on their Facebook page. You can go look at it. It says they had problems with booking the venue and rising rental fees and that kind of stuff. So it was a lot of logistics were the reason that they did not hold the event. Is at least that's what they're saying. So I don't know how they would solve that next year.
Right.
Like, that's kind of where I'm coming from. But maybe they would be looking at a different venue then.
The person, like the local community, has been so supportive of the crazy stuff that both Justin and I have been up to. So I'm sad to see that.
I
venue go.
actually posted on our FanQuest page today that we're very sad to see C4 have to do this. It is really a groundbreaking event here in Winnipeg. Like, it was really the first con
Absolutely
that I know of. It was Manitoba Comic Con at first, and it was River City Comic Con or whatever. Like, there was all these different iterations, and then they hit the convention center, and that was your first convention.
and
Was
it
it yours
was-
as well, Greg?
Yep.
Yeah. So both of you, the first convention you ever tabled at. And it does. So there's a lot of influence there, and I think a lot of
Was
us.
it?
I used to work for this convention, so
yeah,
certainly
right.
a
That's
lot of us wouldn't be in this position we are at without C4. So
Right.
it's not great news, but at the same time, I'm trying to get the word out, and many other. I see all these posts this morning from people who are all like involved in the community saying, we're very upset about it, but there are other events happening, and there's still a vibrant fan community here in
Right.
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of the message I've been seeing this morning. And the mainstream media is, I kind of want to put out a press release or something saying, hey, by the way, there's some other things happening, because to most mainstream
Oh yeah, they're
people,
like, oh, it's over now.
yeah,
It's all done,
that's
yeah.
exactly what they're saying. The Comic-Con is not happening. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of like mainstream kind of the masses out there are not as aware of the smaller ones as maybe they should be, right?
Yeah, right.
Because there's still lots of great events happening.
Yeah, well,
in
it
Winnipeg.
would be the equivalent of if they close the concert venue here, right? Like the MTS Center closes, right? It doesn't mean music ends in
Yeah,
Winnipeg.
yeah.
It's just like the biggest spot isn't doing it.
Right.
Right? So, and, there's a lot of parallels between the comic book world and the indie band scene also.
Yeah.
Right? They build their own fan bases. They visit. They travel.
Market themselves,
They
yeah.
market themselves. They do all that kind of thing. So,
So what are you guys going to do now that weekend?
I think we're going to have our own event. I think what we should do is get all the people that are sort of in the inner circle who we know would show up and do a great job, and hold a mini event. And like, I don't know, what do you do? Like, do you honor the past event, right? Like in honor of it, some kind of thing.
That feels like a funeral or a wake. or
Yeah,
something.
maybe we have a funeral.
I don't know that they're not dead yet, though. We shouldn't do
Maybe
that.
we have a
It's
funeral?
premature, I think, a little
But I
bit.
do know that there is enough of us who keep that weekend open,
Yes.
right?
Agreed.
That having a great,
I talked to one person who said he's going to be looking into the Halifax show, because that's the same weekend as C4. He's never been able to go to Halifax because of that
It's hard to
conflict.
get into Halifax.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Halifax a hard one, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. That's all he said, is that he's looking into that. But yeah, I've spoken to a couple people this morning and yesterday afternoon who said we would love to see something happen around that same time. And there are, maybe this is an opportunity to market the smaller events. Look at you hugging your book. To market these smaller events to the wider audience that are
Totally.
aware of C4.
Yeah.
They're going to be sitting there in October going, where's the Comic-Con? What's going
the
on?
event? Yeah.
Right? So maybe this is a chance for us to kind of, say, hey, there are these other things happening.
You know what I think? Who I think is affected the most negative? Okay, no, maybe not the most negatively by this, but I think emotionally the most negatively by it is the huge cosplay community in our city, who uses the Halloween Comic-Con ramp up to be like their Christmas,
Yes.
right? You almost need to
Although-
hold a cosplay event.
Well, cosplay event would be great. I think that would be, and also very fitting with Halloween. But one thing I find to be interesting is that at first, I believe that was the kind of impetus behind holding C4 around Halloween, was so that people would dress up. I think the organizers were aware of cosplay decades ago, before it was even really a thing, and they're like, well, people in Winnipeg aren't going to do this unless it's Halloween. Yeah. So they aligned it with that. But now you don't need to. Like, honestly, there are so many people who come dressed in cosplay to FanQuest, to Icon, to all these other events that is huge, and people will dress up for no reason. So you don't need the Halloween angle. But that being said, we could use that as the kind of in for this type of thing.
It does feel a little bit like... if you did a show or you did something on the same date or like right around the same time, it does feel a little bit like grief harvesting.
A little bit, yeah.
Right.
Grief harvesting?
Right?
Is that from something? Is that like a reference?
It's a term I've heard in relation to when like a celebrity dies and then suddenly all the artists on the internet post photos of that person in order to make sure they get clicks.
Well, isn't it in tribute to that person?
Well, yeah.
Some of it, yeah. But
like
I think some of it
Stan
is
Lee
also...
passed away. I saw a bunch of people posting images of Stan Lee.
It's still, though, if you're doing it on social media and now you got 1 million new followers or 1,000 new followers, you're capitalizing on the death of another person.
Okay.
I think when people like, Bill Sienkiewicz or whatever, he has had for years, does these memorial photos. He has a tradition of, whether you've heard of them or not, he does these drawings of people that he thinks matter who have passed away. A little different than when someone's like, oh man, look at all these people posting pictures of Stan Lee and getting all these new followers and all this new love. I'm going to post a picture of Stan Lee, and they quickly bust one out and then throw it up. I think that's,
I don't think that's what we're doing here. We're not doing that. We just want to have a great event.
Yeah.
That's always been the goal of FanQuest, is to have a great event, and we have such a great community here.
Well, I wasn't throwing shade on FanQuest, Dan. You're in June.
No. I know. But what I'm saying is that people, like, there's going to be a huge hole in our convention scene here without C4, that we should do something to try and fill that hole and to give people a good event to attend and to have fun and to gather and to celebrate all their fandoms the way they usually do every October.
I'm quite curious as to, in the post saying they weren't going to be around this year, there is some other event who has booked the convention center for that weekend, which was kind of part of this.
Yes.
So I wonder what that event
is. It's a HR convention.
Oh, God.
Come on.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. It's totally a corporate thing.
The absolute opposite.
Maybe HR stands for Halloween Revival.
No,
and we'll be pleasantly surprised.
A Halloween HR event?
How about Halloween the movie?
There you go. Now we're talking.
There we go.
Oh, man. So, yeah, it's bittersweet. But you know what? It's something we've talked about a lot on the show before. We've prepped for this moment. What happens when the conventions go away?
Mm-hmm. Is that something you've talked about?
Oh, yeah. We've talked about it lots.
Mm-hmm. Have you, on this podcast?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
You edit this podcast.
I know. I don't remember.
Right? Well, okay, maybe not a lot, but we've alluded to the fact. We've had conversations in the studio a lot about
how... Tomorrow, conventions were no longer a thing. What would you do?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Right? And we're holding a box of what would we do right now. Right? Part of diversifying what we do into other areas of fandom is so that you don't rely. It's kind of like people who are really upset when the Instagram algorithm changed.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
You never owned Instagram to begin with. Right. So putting all of your faith and hope that this giant free platform would continue to give you an advantage for nothing, like, that's naive.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
And so for us to also do that would be naive, to assume that other people will front hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring celebrity guests and huge crowds to cities all over the world. That bubble could burst very quickly and easily, right? It's a thin margin, right, for those people who are running those shows. And if it went away, how do we keep doing what we're doing, right? It's a big component of how we do what we're doing, but we did not, or are trying not to make it the only thing we do, right? So,
and you guys have a good example of that right there.
Yeah, well, Red Gear and Sea is a good example of that. Red Earth is a good example of that. It's a book and a play, and that play can now tour all over and do things. Because we have the play, we have a script, and we have a few drafts of that script. So now I can take that to some producer people that I know and see what might happen there. Essentially, there's this double tasking thing going on where, let's imagine somebody likes something that we've done in another media and they want to translate it somewhere else. We have a lot of examples where we've done that, right? Someone says, well, have you ever thought about doing animation? We have a trailer for Cassie and Tonk to show them.
Right.
Right? Ever thought about doing theater or television? We have short films and a theater production to show them. Ever thought about wider distribution in the book market? Well, we have books now, and we're talking to distributors about a wider distribution.
You're like a couple of gunfighters heading for a showdown.
Aren't you curious to know who's best?
We should maybe aim for a Cassie and Tonk 1.5 like release party.
Yeah.
Were you guys planning on doing that anyway?
We were planning on doing it
just didn't know when.
once a couple of things were out of the way.
Right.
But we've been dying to show people this animated trailer, and we're doing a reprint of the book because we have like one box of the originals left, and we've kind of been holding on to it. So yeah, we need to reprint and we need to reveal a couple things.
And with Gear and Sea out now, and Rust and Water we've got.
And Dragon Nanny.
And Dragon Nanny coming. That might be a great thing. Now, could we do it in such a way where... so you're listening to our planning meeting now, dear listener. Could we do it in such a way where the crowd could come for free? That would be my, like... The way that you don't turn it into a Grief Harvest pivot
is by
you
charging.
Say, yeah, right. You don't charge those people to come. So if we did an event where, yeah, we have merch that they can buy if they want, but if we could orchestrate a thing where we could reach out to that community and say, like, you know, cosplayers come, have a cosplay event, you know, people who just want to come and see stuff and be part of the community itself. Here's a little presentation we're giving to you guys.
The first floor space in our building, is that...
We'd have enough time, I think, to get the insurance we need. We have a space in our building which used to be used for events, dear listeners, that had some recent issues with that. But we have time to get that organized, I bet.
How big is it?
3,000, 4,000 square feet?
Something like that,
Yeah.
Might be a little small for what we're talking about.
Might be small, yeah. Especially if we're really going to market it to the crowd that usually comes to C4. Because, again, this is reaching outside the normal sphere of con community. Everybody who goes to these events on the regular, who goes to all of them, knows everything. They all know about this. They're all talking about it. So we want to reach
that huge other
percentage.
It's
like the tens of thousands of people who come who are, that's it. They only go to C4. They only know about that one event. Right. And now we have to introduce them to all these other great people and great events and artists and vendors. Because a lot of them don't, in the last couple of years, I know a lot of the local vendors, certainly the ones that are coming to FanQuest, have not been a part of C4.
Something like this has happened before, though. A couple of years ago, Wizard World bought C4.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I always heard rumors about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true.
I paid for my table through Wizard World.
Okay.
Right? And then Wizard World, like a month before the event, said, we're not doing it. So Wizard World had my money and said we're not doing the event, so I had to fight them to get my table money back, basically, and you
had to buy another table for the actual.
Well, and
C4?
Michael stepped in last minute, within a week of them announcing that they weren't doing it. C4 had said we are going to pick up the slack and do it, and it was a scary week of
is there a show?
Is there a show? Yeah.
What year was that?
It was a couple of years ago. Do you not remember this?
I remember knowing about it, but I remember that year I booked my table late. So all of that stuff, the wreckage of all of that was what people were talking about, but it had no effect on me as a general.
You'd already cleared.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, I know. Well, it had to have been before 2015 because that's when I started getting involved.
I do remember. What I remember is I called the shop and I asked Michael, what's going on? Can I get a table? And he said, we already have you down for one because you come every year. So we had you on the map already. And so I didn't sweat it. That's what came down to. Huh. But you're right. There was a kerfuffle.
And it makes me really sad, too, that we didn't do that smaller show the other week.
Yeah.
C4 had a small event.
Yes.
That we usually do, but it's just that we both had a lot going on, just with work and social calendar, and it was a smaller show, and it's the first one I think we've missed in years. A very, very long time.
I attended it. I brought my kids to it.
So yeah, you attended the one day.
Yeah, because I had 3 hours I could go to it, but I didn't have 40 hours I could spend vending at it.
Right.
But in 10 years of C4 events, I think I've missed 2 now. Yeah. And the second one was the last event.
Bittersweet, if only I had known.
Well, that one will probably be back. The smaller one, the Manitoba Comic-Con. I'm thinking that will be back for sure. It's just the larger thing that they might have problems with.
No loyalty with the convention center too. C4 has had that weekend for 10 years now, and wouldn't they kind of? Is there no loyalty, friendship?
Money always wins.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, so and there were a couple of different articles in local media about this. And what they said was they did talk to somebody at the convention center, and what they said was, they had a tentative booking. The person said that C4 was having to look at alternate dates. I'm not sure what that means because it's always that same weekend,
right.
End of October. This year it's a little bit weird because Halloween actually falls on a Thursday, I think, this year. So that it would have been either the weekend before or the weekend after. Right? But they said they did raise the rental rates, and it's just in because of inflation. That's simply all it is.
Right.
Costs go up.
Yeah.
And so so there was higher rent involved. That was one of the reasons C4 gave. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Again, we don't know the intricacies of this. We don't know the actual.
Yeah, there's
so much going on.
Lots of sides.
But you guys, the other question that's on a lot of people's minds is, will this open up the opportunity for a larger convention like Fan Expo to come into Winnipeg?
Fan Expo has been sniffing around.
I've heard scuttlebutt about Fan Expo being interested in opening a show here in Winnipeg, but also the people who run the Halifax Con have been talking about.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe could they do a show, or could they?
So you've never done HalCon,
No.
But I gotta say the people involved with that show, they're all just delightful.
Yeah.
It was a great show to do. Everything was they were great to deal with. Everybody was clear, concise, and the best part was they had this is a weird thing that I think only vendors will really appreciate. But before the show starts, under your table when you get there are bottled waters that are labeled like HalCon water.
That's nice.
And every day, like every morning, there'll be 2 new bottles under your table, so they keep you hydrated the whole weekend.
Totally stealing that idea.
Yeah,
totally
it's
doing
a
that.
great
Isn't that a great idea?
It's a
Yeah.
great idea.
You know what? I've applied to HalCon a couple of times, and their rejections in all cases were like the most measured, pleasant. Like normally, like if you apply and then you just don't hear anything,
You'll just
It's
never
it's like
get
just
a
ghost. I got these things in all the cases. They were an email that said, unfortunately, you're not in because we have, there's a big demand, and we have a bunch of people who have work that we think is parallel or similar to yours that may also be at the show. And one of our mandates is that we want to keep sort of competition between the vendors to a minimum. And if we've misunderstood what your work is, we apologize. Right? It was sort of like, we think it fits
Some
this,
people
and
get-
some people are here, and
touchy.
if we got it wrong, I'm really sorry, but it was, it's the little things.
Class act.
Yeah, it's a classy thing.
So interesting. But obviously they wouldn't be doing that this year.
No.
Nothing is going to happen this year. So, and again, we're not sure if C4 is going to come back next year or not.
So
But
giant Halloween party / Cassie and Tonk trailer party.
I definitely think there's a potential event there for sure. We just need to find a venue. It would be great to get all the other con organizers, not just FanQuest, but Icon and KeyCon and Wild Prairie Fur Con and EnterCon. That's another one. Transformers.
I like
EnterCon.
EnterCon.
Oh man, those are so cool. Those Transformers. I'm first year FanQuest. I tried. I mean, I didn't really know a lot about this, but I was trying to partner with them to bring in the Cybertronic Spree. Have you guys ever heard of the Cybertronic Spree? Okay, I bet you'd probably see them at Fan Expo in Toronto if you went. I know you guys go, but you're working the whole time. They are a band who does covers of mostly TV theme songs.
Do they do Airwolf? Because
I don't know. No, well, that's only like no. Okay, I'm talking about like cartoon TV theme. Like they do the Raccoons theme song, and they do music exclusively from the Transformers 1986 Transformers film soundtrack. So like You've Got the Touch, and what's the one? My favorite one is Dare. Anyway, they dress up like Transformers. Like they're cosplaying as Rodimus Prime and okay. You're playing Airwolf.
I know.
This
Did
is
they play
not-
the Airwolf
no,
theme?
they don't.
That's
Can they?
nothing.
Can we take requests?
It's a great song. I'm not gonna. And that intro is pretty cool.
We should restart Airwolf. I'm sorry to derail you,
That's
but
okay.
as soon as you said 80s music,
So Cybertronic Spree, and I was in contact with their manager, and it would just prove too costly. There's like 9 members of the band.
gotta
They're seriously. They have like what's the girl Transformers name?
RC?
RC, Rodimus Prime, Unicron. The drummer is Rumble.
Nice.
They have
Always
the
liked
the
crumbles.
quintesson, like those things that go innocent. Remember where their faces rotate?
Yeah.
They got one of those guys.
Jeez.
Anyway, they play like songs from the soundtrack.
So not only would you have to fly them in, but the amount of luggage
Well,
they would
So
have
they're
to
like
bring with them.
Guar, but
exactly.
Transformers
and yeah,
music.
actually, the deal was going to be, they were going to part of some of them were so nice and so willing to accommodate us. They were like, some of them were going to drive from Toronto, which is insane.
Yeah.
And the rest of them were going to fly, but they were totally willing to do it because they don't really do a lot of shows. They're starting to do more now, but they're not really well known outside of Toronto, which is their main kind of area. But talked to the guys at Entercon. Neither of us had enough money to do it, so that's on a bucket list too for a future year.
Maybe
to bring
this
those.
is the time.
Maybe we could do it. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I think this is a great idea. We get together with some of these other organizers and start thinking
you mean
about
the Airwolf reboot?
That's
that we're
right.
doing?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I created Airwolf, and I will destroy her.
I don't believe this guy.
Airwolf goes back to the womb with a boom.
For those of us who aren't familiar with Airwolf,
You have the internet. Look up Airwolf and be amazed.
I don't know if I want to.
You don't know Airwolf?
No, I'm not familiar
okay.
with
You
it.
don't know about Airwolf? Okay.
I grew up without TV.
First of all, we know what we're going to use as our cuts for this entire episode now, right?
If it
Is-
exists online.
Oh, it does.
Well, I
Episodes of
don't-
Airwolf. Airwolf was Knight Rider, essentially, but with a helicopter.
But the helicopter didn't talk.
No, it didn't talk, but it was a super helicopter.
Yeah, it was.
And there was like in the Nevada desert, this secret organization that had a super helicopter that like sent its rescue team out to all kinds of different war zones, which were basically LA every time, but dressed up to look like other parts of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It was a super helicopter. You didn't know?
No.
Huh. Airwolf. It's amazing. You should watch it. Well, actually, it's terrible, but there's...
The theme song's
But
great.
it's 80s terrible,
It's 80s terrible,
which
yeah.
is its own kind of
I
special.
think
its own-
Knight Rider started a bit of a trend with super vehicles. I think there was
Totally.
that. There was was there Night? Remember Night Boat? No, that's a Simpsons thing. Yeah. Night Boat. There's always a canal.
Yeah.
Oh my god. There was a few super vehicles. Well, the A-Team, all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Mask.
They would build a super vehicle every episode in
Yes.
the A-Team.
Yes.
The
MacGyver
General
did stuff.
Lee, right?
Yep.
And there was a lot of super vehicles in the 80s. You know what it honestly was, I think, is that there was this wealth of really great practical stunt drivers.
Oh, yeah.
In the 80s that I don't think have as much of.
not-
today.
Does
It's
that mean
as
they
in
didn't
demand.
survive the 80s?
Well, actually, I read a book related to this because another 80s show I really like, The Fall Guy, right? Which is about
Yep.
a stuntman. Yeah,
Yep.
right, whatever. There wasn't a lot of unionization or a lot of protection. It was just like, do you know a guy who can roll this car over the bridge?
We'll give him money.
Yeah, we'll give him some money if he'll do it today. And then they would do it, and sometimes they'd get hurt, and they'd be like, "Oh, sorry, well, we did pay you, and you signed a thing saying you'd do it, right?" So, it's dangerous. Your life is literally on the line as a stunt person.
That's
so
true.
I think it's a little different. That Quentin Tarantino movie, Death Proof.
Yes.
Apparently, the internet can correct my facts here, but I think it's a whole bunch of 80 stunt drivers that they brought in as the oversight on all of those, because all those effects were practical. They were all real cars driving at real speeds, doing real stunts.
Crazy.
Right? Which is why the actress was also a stunt performer. Like, that was her main thing. Zoe Bell.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's
really?
like a famous stunt act.
Oh,
like
I didn't
she's
know
a
that.
yeah, stunt double. So that's
She's
really
awesome.
her on the
I like
cover of
her.
that car traveling at like 60 miles an
Oh my
hour.
God.
Right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow, we've ranged all over.
Yeah.
What? So you guys are getting ready for Calgary. You are like, honestly, you're packing up to go. Uline is coming to pick up your stuff.
No, they
No,
dropped it off.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, then we pick it. Then we have to take it.
Okay, so you guys getting packed up, ready to go, driving out there. What's next after Calgary?
Regina,
Okay.
Regina, and then I go to Ottawa.
and then I come back to do Red Earth.
You going to Ottawa as well? No, you're
because Red Earth.
What's in Ottawa? Just Ottawa Con?
the Ottawa Comic Con, and then after that I go back to Calgary for their anime show, Otafest,
Oh.
which is
cool.
I've done 3 years now. They actually brought me out as a guest the first year. It was the first time I've ever been invited to a show as a featured guest. I really like it. I like Calgary. Got some good friends there. So
And then the end of May, I'm at a literary festival in Montreal. I'm a guest of a lit festival. The name escapes me. I just said yes. And so they're bringing me out. No, what it comes down to is The publisher Portage and Maine has a good relationship with this festival, and we do a bunch of books related to Indigenous representation.
Right.
And even though I am not an Indigenous creator, I think that's part of the conversation that they want to have, circling around reconciliation. Is
But you have contributed to a lot of books that
a whole
have
bunch.
That,
a whole
Good
bunch.
Boys and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So.
well, Good Boys isn't one of those, but I did some work for Moonshot. I did some work for This Place. I did work on Will I See. I did work on... there's two other ones, names escape me, some anthologies. And they... it's interesting because as a non-Indigenous person working in that realm, I said this recently in an interview, it feels like I am privy to a secret history of Canada, right? Like there are all these things that are not in the westernized history books that were taught to me as a young person, that I'm now getting the full side of the story. And that, is it's sobering.
But it's actually good. They're actually teaching that to kids now. So our kids are learning about that in school, which is really great.
Yeah.
They're learning about reconciliation and about all kinds of stuff. So I'm very happy to hear that the history is being taught differently now.
Yeah.
In schools, and you guys are helping out with that, with all these graphic novels that you're making and that kind of stuff, right? That's part of it.
And we're trying our best.
Yeah.
Just trying our best.
The other big thing when we get back from Regina, we're going to clean the studio. It's a
Does it
disaster
ever need
right
it?
now.
Yeah. The thing is, if you get super busy and you have a studio, like the real benefit to the studio, Dan, is that you can leave your mess in progress. You don't have to clean it up. Like why having a workspace out of your home space is good is that when life comes back, you can leave the work you're doing, go to life, and then come back and resume work already in progress.
Yeah. So you guys can leave this place a mess. Nobody's going to be here. Nobody's going to care.
Right. And then come
it's
back.
not like your family's sitting around, what the heck's going on here? And they're getting mad at you for leaving all your boxes all over the
So
place.
there's still detritus from Baby Metal in the studio because I like all the leftover bits that you make along the way. Yeah. That is still in the studio. A bunch of Baby Metal commissions are all still scattered around the studio. The stuff for Red Earth is here. The stuff for This Place is all here. Like we just kept jumping.
How much of this mess is yours and how much is Justin's?
It's pretty even.
Is it?
Okay. I'd say.
I'm just noticing, like...
It's almost like half. Yeah. This half is me, and
okay.
This is a meridian.
Yeah, I might be 60%.
This time, This time,
Well,
but it waxes and wanes.
I'm doing something a little different for Calgary this year. I have two tables. I have one in the vendors, and I have one table in the Artist Alley. And I have such a portfolio at this point that the table at Artist Alley will have all my older greatest hits, and the table in the other hall is just going to have my new current portfolio. So in prep for this, I basically gutted the back storage room of all my old stuff and did a sort, which it hadn't been sorted in a long time, and kind of packaged up a show of all this old work that hadn't seen the light of day in a long time.
It's kind of a last chance for people too. Like Justin produces so much work. And has people who, are interested in getting that new work. So you end up with this back catalog of stuff, right?
You can't bring it everywhere.
Can't bring it everywhere.
Too much.
But because Calgary's a show we drive to, right? It behooves us to bring more than maybe we need.
Right? You just bring it back?
Yeah, because you can drive it back.
I hope there's not much to bring back. Is the plan.
Yeah,
that's exactly
the plan.
Gotta find out what they've really got.
I knew it. You just couldn't resist it.
I feel like I could make an announcement here on this podcast as far as a new guest for FanQuest that I can just cut out afterwards if it doesn't work out. But I'm pretty confident by the time this episode is posted, we will have confirmed Mpokwaho, otherwise known as Ken from Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. For those who have you seen the series? This is of course the newer series. It's on Netflix. He plays. He's kind of like he's along with Bart. Played
Bart
by
and Ken are my favorite part.
It's such a great. So Bart is of course the anti-Dirk Gently, and she causes chaos.
She's a holistic assassin,
right? Yeah. And then Ken partners up with her in season 1. He's like a computer guy who gets involved somehow. I don't remember how he gets involved.
He was working for the bad guys, and she couldn't kill him, and she was very perplexed by why she couldn't kill him, because she can kill everybody,
right?
But for some reason she kept
she's
Ken
a
around
holistic assassin, and his character, and so anyone she meets should die. Should die. Right. And so she can kill them under all these circumstances, but he can't die. That means he must therefore be good.
And then he goes on to have a bigger role in season 2.
I really like that arc.
I haven't seen it. Don't spoil it.
Okay, well, it's really interesting what they do with him. So he is coming to FanQuest. He is, we always try to bring in an actor, at least one actor who is known from something. Now, we can't afford huge stars,
right, but
he has done a lot of great work here. He's on Dirk Gently. He was on The Expanse. I think season 2, I can't remember. He was one of the Martian troopers. If you've watched The Expanse, there's the character of Bobby, who's like the Martian soldier, and she's part of her squad. He's part of her squad.
One of the things that you guys do differently at FanQuest, though, is, and why it's kind of good to have guests that don't need an entire entourage to come with them, is that you give people access to having conversations and meet and greets, and you know, like there's more conversation. So like if you're a person who wants to know what that job is really like, FanQuest is a cool place to come and talk to people who are actually doing that job. You know, like talking to Jason Momoa about how to be a giant famous person is not as useful to a person who's trying to break into the industry as someone who is a supporting cast member, because they literally are the people who are doing it as a regular day
But they
job.
also get to work with a lot of great people. Mopoa has worked with. He was actually here shooting Nomis. With what's his name? Henry Cavill was here. So he's worked with him. He's worked with Mark Wahlberg. He's worked with a bunch of different people. He was also in, I'm trying to look at some other stuff, Falling Skies, which was a TV miniseries.
I like that show.
It was a Spielberg produced series about alien invasion.
I remember that.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff. Goosebumps.
Oh, Goosebumps.
It's going back to 1998.
Did it say which episode? I'm going to get
awesome,
a Goosebumps.
Awesome Ants.
Awesome
That's
Ants.
the episode.
I don't think I read that
Okay,
one.
Down in the Delta was his big breakthrough, which was a really good film in the late 90s. So he's had a lot of great work, and he continues to work, which is also why we want to bring him in, because we want to bring in people who are still actively working in the field, and especially ones who focus on fandom-related properties like The Expanse and like Dirk Gently. So we're very excited to have him. We're going to have a lot of fun. He's going to have a lot of fun. So come down to FanQuest and meet him.
This has been Super Pulp Science, where we've talked about our new books, our future books, our past mistakes, our future mistakes, and our hopes and dreams. I hope that you will take some of that on your journey as you join the fight and make comments.